Boom. Boom, boom. Hello. Good evening. How are you all doing? Is there anyone here? Is my microphone okay? Can you hear me? You can hear me? Good, good. Makes a nice change. The microphone normally plays up. It's good to hear that it's working loud and clear. Thank you, Richard. Oh, the week's almost over. Summer has passed. We've got... Hello, French Fire Addicts. Yeah, summer is over. And we got nothing but rain here in the UK at the moment. Going from quite nice sunny weather last week to the full-on rain in no time. Doesn't take long, does it? Apparently, got a few days of this actually. So I've been wanting to get out there today and do some work on my bike, and of course I can't because it's pouring with rain, and I'm off this week. And I'm not sure when we're going to get some nice weather at the moment. So I've been stuck indoors, doing a few bits and pieces, clearing out the house, a few chores here and there, a couple of movies, loads of music. I've still got a load of vinyl to show actually. I've got to make a video, but I just haven't got the energy to do it. The kids are just about gone to school today. They started quite late. One of them was home. One of them started today. One of them started on Thursday, which is odd, but there you go. It is what it is. And of course, by next week, when I have a full week off and I have an opportunity to make a video, I'm back at work again. So, oh dear. I tried doing a video late at night, but has anyone tried to do a video at midnight and just wanting to do a video, getting almost set up to do a video, but you just can't do it? Ever been in that situation? You just almost ready to turn the camera on and go, but your energy is just not there, you know, and you just think, I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm too knackered. Or I'm too tired, or I want to do it, but then I want to do it when my energy is up, you know, not when I'm literally about to go to bed. Ever been there? Ever done that before? It's a thing what keeps happening over and over. You know, especially when the kids are at home. You know, and the house doesn't get sort of quiet until, like, I don't know, maybe about 10 o'clock now because the kids are getting older. And so you hang around for another hour. You know, that goes to 11 o'clock. You know, maybe you lose track of time a bit. You're looking at maybe 12 o'clock. You think, oh, now's the time to do a video. So you get set up and you can't do it, but you just think, oh, I can't do this. It's just too late now, you know. It's the right time. It's all quiet. The house is quiet, but I can't do it. I made a video this evening, my first in 6 weeks. I was actually going through my record collection, Richard, digging out 12-inch singles, just sort of putting them to one side. So, but I'm glad you managed to make a video. I'm sure there's going to be more to come. Have you uploaded it, Richard, or you just made it? I'm struggling with content. I mean, I've got ideas. That's not a problem. But it's actually getting around to do them. Oh, okay, cool. I'll check that one out then. Nice one. Just getting around to doing videos. I can't do it. I just get stopped in my tracks, and for whatever reason, I just think I can't do this. What's wrong with me? My energy's just zapped. I think I'm reaching my end. I don't know if I'll be doing videos as regularly as I once did. I've been putting out at least one video a week, probably for the last 5 years now. I mean, that's amazing. Not every single week. There might be one or two I miss, but generally every week I put out one video. Also, availability for Friday or Saturday. Saturday will probably be a better day, Richard, because I like to do a live stream on Friday if I can. Saturday will be my last day of work, so yeah, it'll have to be after work though, which will be probably about, I don't know, sometime after 3 o'clock, probably sometime after 3. Is that all right for you? I mean, the kids will still be up at that time, so I can probably work around that for a one-off occasion. It's probably going to be a bit of an odd thing to hear for someone like yourself, having to work around children. You know, you probably like to do things 12 o'clock or something like that, don't you? At lunchtime or whatever. But it's just not possible for me. But yeah, Saturday should be all right. After work though. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I was watching a movie today, hence the title of this the live stream. Saving Private Ryan. I must have seen it. I don't know, 40 odd times probably. All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, probably seen it 40 odd times. I saw it when it came out. Was it 1998 came out, Saving Private Ryan? You know, watched it. You know, sort of a movie that, you know, brings a tear to the eye a little bit, you know. But I watched it today, and I watched half of it yesterday, and I was feeling a bit, oh, you know, this is a bit heart-wrenching. And I watched the other half today, and my two kids were, I say they're kids, teenagers now, sort of sat in and watched the ending, and I started welling up. After the movie, I started welling up, and you know, kids were like, "You're right, Dad." Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you know, a bit embarrassing, isn't it? You know, and of course they go upstairs. They let my missus know. Oh, Dad's a bit teary. So she comes down. Is everything all right? You know. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's just the movie just got me. You know. And you're right, Jason. I said, oh, okay. The movie upset you. So yeah. So what are you watching? I said, Saving Private Ryan. She said, I said, you watched that last time you started crying. I did. I don't remember that. But, yeah, obviously that movie gets to me a bit now. You know, never used to as like that before, but I think when you lose somebody, you know, a parent, you know, it affects you. You know, affects you emotionally, and even after a few years pass, you find yourself a little more emotional to what maybe you were before. You know, once you've gone through that loss. So yeah. So there you go. You know, I am human after all. You know, just like you. I tried to explain to boys, you know, that you know it's a powerful movie. You know, a movie you watch affects you like that. You know it's a great movie. You know, what movie gets you in that way? You know, where you're emotionally affected. There isn't many, is there? There isn't many. But that one did. Anyway, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. Yeah, no. uh, kids watch it and they don't really sort of understand, do they? Like young teenage boys, you know, don't really understand what World War Two was about. You know, all those sort of soldiers that died, and you know, they can't comprehend it, can they? Yeah, yeah. Men do cry. Yeah, yeah. There isn't many. There isn't many movies that upset me like that, but that one did today, admittedly. You know, it wasn't like bawling my eyes out, but you know, there were certainly a few tears. You know. So, what gets you guys? Come on, I know there is. I know there's something. There's always something. Who's brave enough to talk about it? Acts of kindness make me teary-eyed. Yeah, they do actually. I see like some kindness videos on YouTube. You know, where someone will give a kind person like hundreds of, maybe £1,000. You know, if you watch those, they can make you well up a little bit. I tell you. You know, especially when they're like a really nice person. You know, and you couldn't have hoped for anyone to have had, you know, an act of kindness like that. The generosity as well behind it. You know, amazing. Okie dokie. I will. I'm going to send a link out, um, but I'm also going to get myself a drink. So hang in there if you decide to come on. Start a camera. Get the camera rolling. Send the link. Right. I'm going to be a minute away. If you're behind the scenes, hang in there. Just want to get myself a beer and I'll be with you. Literally 1 minute. You know me, I like to run a professional stream. Oh. Cleared out the downstairs cupboard today. Oh, something I've been meaning to do for a long, long time. But partner's always here hanging around, you know, and she's got a load of crap in there which she wants to be left alone, like drawings and things the kids have done, which I get, sentimental kind of stuff. Anyway, 1 second. I do, and one particular, me in tears, but the same actress was recipient in 2 other videos, which has made me lose faith in these videos. Oh, right, okay. You're talking about those YouTube videos. I'm with you. Yeah, so I was clearing out the downstairs cupboard with my missus got up to bed for a sleep. And I thought, you know, it's an opportunity to clear out some of her crap. not to get rid of like loads of stuff, but I just wanted to sort of get in there and make some room for my things, you know, like you do. And she's got boxes of schoolwork the kids have got, school reports, loads of shoes, and then loads of old bags, rucksacks, coats, tons of coats, and I'm sort of gathering it all up, you know. And it's always the same story, isn't it? You know, you go through these things, and when you need bin bags, there isn't any. You know, it's always the same thing, isn't it? Bin bags, there's very few. So that's always a thing. So anyway, I managed to get some bin bags, started putting the stuff in the bags, like old coats and things. Anyway, Mrs. comes down and she said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm clearing out this cupboard." And I was expecting a bit of a response where like she's going to start moaning, "Oh, you know, leave my stuff alone, and I don't want to throw that away. It's sentimental value, this, that, and the other." But she was fine. She came down, she started helping me out, which is good. So I said, "Look, you've got a load of stuff. Can you not whittle it down a bit? You know, you really don't need all of it. Now the kids are getting older now. They're all in senior school now. You know." And she just sort of helped out, and we managed to get through a load of stuff, put it in the recycle. It was like, yes, it's out there. Great. And yeah, managed to make a bit of room in there, which I'm very pleased about. So yeah, managed to get a few of my boxes in there, and you know, stuff which is important. Well, important to me. So I managed to throw away loads of shoes. I can no longer wear these shoes, so they can go. I said, "Well, we won't throw them away. We're charity them, you know. We're charity which is decent, you know." So I've got to make 1 or 2 trips to the charity shops. I might use one of them clothes banks as well. That might help. Just to chuck them in these clothes banks I have locally. So I'm pleased about that. It's progress. The day has passed and the progress has been made. That's what you want, isn't it? You know, you don't want a day which is completely unproductive. You want a bit of something, you know. Been looking in the charity shops. Been nothing in the way of vinyl. You know, sometimes it's hard enough to get a decent CD. I'm not complaining though, because it's saving me money. You know, I'm not. It's not much of a moan. That's better. Actually, see now. Yeah, on Friday. Yeah, a little bit later. Sort of half 8, 9 o'clock now. I'm the only remaining live stream this week. There's been no Ian. Well, UK one anyway. In the VC. Just seems to be me and Ian doing it. I think is there any other one out there in the VC in the UK that are doing live streams? Got a couple of Stevie Wonder CDs in a charity shop this week. Yeah, nice one. People don't want to be doing live streams, do they? I don't think there's much interest in the UK from us Brits doing live streams. You know, I think it makes people feel uncomfortable, and that's, you know, people don't want to go out their comfort zone. You know, it's one thing making a video, you know, kind of like you're putting yourself out there a little bit, you know, but live stream is like you're like fully exposed to everything, you know, and I get that. It's you know, but at the same time, I wish other people would, you know, do live streams and get on board, you know, be a bit more social. You know, I just find the UK particularly we're very reserved, aren't we? You know, we don't want to do things. We don't want to communicate. Don't want to travel quite so willingly as our US counterparts, what have you. I want people to sort of come on here and talk, you know, have a conversation. Doesn't have to be about music. No live streams, please. We are British. Yeah, it's very much that way. I save music for Ian. That's his stream music. You know, this is just a hangout, really. You know, kind of like it that way. Although, you know, it's not got its structure, and you know, I'm not showcasing anything particularly. I kind of like it loose, you know. I shall pop up one day in the middle of a house move. You must be busy. That's a stressful thing to go through, a house move. But yeah, sure, come up one day, it's fine. You know, I just wish others would get on board, you know, and be a bit more social, you know. I mean, it's not hard to come up here and just talk a load of crap, really. I mean, Jason does it all the time. He's an expert. Just ask Jason. I'm joking. Only kidding. Now we can talk about anything. You know, football season started. My team's lost already. Well, a flat move. Yeah, still busy though, isn't it? You know, still acquires a van and, you know, help and all that. Some unreliable. It's the trouble, you know, when you want to do it on the cheap, isn't it? You need people available. You're right, Jason.
Oh, Dave.
You right?
Yeah, got a cold.
Got a cold, oh dear.
Yeah, no, it's kicked off a couple of days ago. It's just all bunged up and that, but I'm all right in myself.
Good.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've had the week off work, so.
Oh, that's good, yeah. You do anything much?
Not much really, just a few sort of chores around the home and being out in the garden and fixing my bike up.
All right, okay.
When it's not been raining.
Yeah.
But no, just pottering about here and there, you know, doing odd things. No, nothing strenuous.
No, not been a bad weekend down this way. What are we doing? Not brought a lot, although I did get myself bit of a spoiler. I got myself ED209 in Funko Pop form.
All right, cool.
Yeah, had to get that. You know, so
yeah.
must have. And it's
great movie.
It's a 6-incher as opposed to a 3-incher.
Yeah.
So a bit more to scale.
I picked up a T-shirt from a charity shop last week. It was a Ghostbusters one. I thought that's coming home with me.
All right, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I got a few of those, the original ones.
Original one, yeah. Well.
Yeah, because they've been re-released a few times.
Yeah. It's probably a reissue shirt, yeah. You know, a modernist shirt. But I thought, you know, I love that movie. You know.
Oh, is it just the logo?
Just the logo, yeah. The first film.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like that faded kind of texture, you know, not full on printed.
Yeah.
You know.
I had a mate at school. He had a black bomber jacket with that on.
All right, yeah.
For years, and then eventually it started beginning to peel off, which was annoying because I think he paid a fair bit for it.
It's probably the first movie I really kind of like loved. You know, it set me off. You know, when it came out the year I was born, and of course I didn't see it till a few years down the line. And you know, and it was all the rage, like in school, like Ghostbusters and, you know, Beetlejuice and Batman, sort of 89, sort of 1990, you know, that sort of time.
Oh yeah, so you did see it a fair bit later then.
Yeah.
I can never remember. I won't ask your age, but I know you're a fair bit younger than me.
I am a bit, yeah. I'm a bit.
Yeah, so yeah. I think I did see it at the cinema when it came out, if I remember rightly. Because we saw the trailer for it. We thought, yeah, that looks really cool. So I have to go and watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, go on.
There's a new Beetlejuice movie out, isn't it?
Yeah, very soon.
Yes.
I've seen the poster for it and everything. An old Winona Ryder. She doesn't actually look all that much older in it.
No,
she's playing the same character.
For her age, isn't she? She looks good for her age.
Yeah.
I said to my missus about going maybe. Well, I just mentioned it was coming out, and she said, "Oh, do you want to go watch it at the cinema?" And I was like,
"Yeah.
Do I? Don't I?" Something I'd like to see, but I'm not desperate to go and
no
traveling to watch it in the cinema. You know.
No, I mean like the other day, I went to the cinema and I saw Aliens Romulus.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it was so, it was mate of mine come around and quite often we go to cinema. Excuse me, I'm really bunged up today. Yeah, we went to see Romulus. So yeah, that wasn't bad. It wasn't the greatest alien movie they've ever done, but it was watchable, entertaining. And they had what did they have? They quite a few trailers actually. I think if I remember, because I was semi dozing because I didn't sleep very well the night before,
Right.
and I think they advertised the new Joker film.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Anyway,
Yeah. I didn't know there was going to be.
yeah, yeah. Craven the Hunter,
Right.
which could be okay, but it's outside of the Spider-Man universe. So it's going to be a bit weird.
I downloaded a few of those comics from that site you mentioned.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, sort of a bit of a flick through.
yeah.
Yeah,
Anything?
yeah, there's a few things there. Yeah,
Yeah, you got the reader
site's a bit ropey though, isn't it? The website's a bit.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it
What
enough
else is there?
time yet, really. So,
Did you read anything?
do I need anything?
No. Did you read anything?
Did I read anything? Not really. Just a quick flick through.
Yeah.
But I'll give it another look. When I've got a bit more
Yeah.
time.
Well, you do need a special reader for it.
I downloaded something which can allow me to
CBR or CD display or something like that.
Oh, I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
So look.
Anyway, if you want to, even if it's just the odd issue or whatever, something to catch up with,
I downloaded something which works. It's good enough,
Yeah. Just sort of think. Yeah, they had that horror film Smile 2. Probably won't worry with that. What was the other? Oh, yeah, Captain America out in February. What else was there? Can't remember. They did have quite a few, boards up for new movies as well, though. They got that new animated Transformers movie.
Right.
Which, again, one I might watch, but I'm not overly bothered if I don't. You know what I mean?
There isn't really much in movies that really is that appealing anymore, unless it's a bit of a throwback, like Beetlejuice. There's a little bit of interest, but like other stuff, just like meh.
I've been watching a few sort of like documentaries. I saw that Beach Boys one that got mentioned the other week. That's not bad.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. It's quite good, quite informative. Some stuff I didn't know.
That's focused on Brian Wilson, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Well,
it is sort of like the band as a whole.
Right, band as a whole.
Yeah, because it goes through their different albums, how they got the sound, and where the bit where Wilson decides he doesn't want to be in the touring band anymore, he just wants to write stuff and things like that.
God, that was years ago, though, wasn't it? That was
yeah.
That was before House, wasn't it?
I'd forgotten he did that, to be honest.
Yeah, they were about to go on tour, and he had a bit of a funny turn on the airplane, apparently, and they sent him home when they landed.
Yeah.
And they hired another guy, didn't they, to take his place to tour with, didn't they? Who kind of became an extra Beach Boy member.
Well, yeah, he was really, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
But yeah, weird the way they recorded a lot of their albums, because Brian Wilson would write them with other people, and then the guys would come in and sing their bits, and that was it.
Yeah.
But that was quite good. Oh crikey, what else? The Jim Henson one.
Right.
From the guy that did the Muppets. That was I've always liked the Muppets, so I thought that was quite enjoyable.
There is a new Terminator anime which is on Netflix.
Just started watching it.
Is it any good?
I've only watched 2 episodes. I do want to see what else is going on. I wouldn't say it's the best thing they've ever done, but it's not bad.
No.
It's set in a different location though.
Right.
So it's sort of they've said, right, well, okay, we know how it affected America, but how did it affect the rest of the world? Sort of thing. Which I think is quite good. And they haven't done an anime version of Arnie. It's a completely different human form from the Terminator.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, being in another country as well. And I'm assuming it's in Japan.
Right.
Um,
Is it a Japanese anime then? Is it?
Yeah, well, that's generally what anime is. It's Japanese animation.
Right. I wasn't sure whether if it was Japanese or American.
They've probably had some Japanese, some American input from it.
Bit of a crossover.
Yeah. But it's seems to be that way anyway, from what I've seen so far. As I say, I've only watched 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Without giving too much away, there's a guy that knows what's coming, and he's trying to prevent it in his own way with his own technology.
Jeff Lynne hasn't been looking so good on tour, apparently. Oh dear.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, bloke is getting on a fair old bit, isn't
he? He is a bit.
He's got to be what? Mid-70s, if not older?
Yeah, I'd probably say so, yeah. Like that, yeah.
We can't all be Mick Jagger and Keith Richards now, can we?
They're all getting old, aren't they, these fellas, aren't they?
Well, I didn't know, right? And it was only went through, doing my research and that people like that were just sort of well, no, he wasn't just starting out, but became a bigger name in the 80s. That Keith LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he was part of Bob the Bass and all the rest of it for a while. He's passed on. He was near 70, which I didn't realise.
The next sort of 10, 20 odd years, we're going to see a lot of big names pass away, aren't we?
We will.
There's going to be a load of them because people are living longer. A lot of like big stars are still sort of in their 70s and 80s at the moment now, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a lot of them pass away.
Hello.
Good evening, Michael.
How you doing?
Good evening. I came on to save you two from yourselves.
Good idea.
Oh, right. Okay. What are we doing this time?
And I wanted to tell you that I wanted to check in with the two of you because you're in the same boat as I am. I've been suffering greatly. I'm in a lot of pain.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I've been having to watch this band from Finland called Nightwish. And I really think that Mastermind Dave, I think he hates him. I really do.
Yeah. I've actually gone through mine, and I picked 4. Won't say what they are. Obviously, we know who the artist is.
I forget. Which one is it?
I was doing Gary Newman.
Right. Well, he's pretty easy. Yeah, he's actually
It's been a bit like that. Up and down.
One, Jason. You got an easy one there.
Yeah.
I was listening to mine the other day. Just put it on because when the kids are at home like this week, summer holidays and that. So I thought, should I sort of play it a little bit and just sort of check it out? Because I start playing it, and it's kind of like a punk bands, they started swearing and stuff, and I was like, might listen to this, what?
Who did you have
Which one is yours, Simon?
The Sleaford Mods.
Right.
Oh,
Well,
right, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know one song of theirs.
Played one track and I thought, no, I can't keep up with this.
Well,
not
yeah,
not
I
with
mean,
the kids sort of upstairs and coming downstairs and whatever, you know.
yeah. No, I mean, I sat there and had a proper listen. Spent a good couple of hours just listening to Gary Newman.
You were properly invested then.
Well, I thought if I'm going to do it, you
Yeah.
know, well, at least I make a fair comment about it, not just going, oh, this is crap or whatever.
I was thinking yesterday, I was like, oh shit, I should have listened to more of that. The streamers today. And of course, I forgot that Ian was on a break, didn't I?
Yeah.
we get a week more to prepare.
We got another week, yeah.
And get
Right.
further embedded into these topics of Nightwish. I mean, it's going to be hard for me. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm going to have to talk about their clothing because that's the only thing I can possibly talk. I mean, the music, it all sounds the same. Every song.
Well,
and
say that. You know,
I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to.
Right. Firm but fair. Right. You know.
Yes, firm but fair. Yes.
I've always said anybody that you know that band that Ian recommended that he got the records from directly. As I said, not my cup of tea, but if you can go up there, you can perform. Yeah, you can write your songs and do all your own stuff. Doesn't matter whether anybody likes it or not, but we all got different tastes. You know, if you can do that, then fair play to you. You know, it's the ones that fake it and you know everything's done for them and all decided for them and all that nonsense that gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
But if you could go out and you know start off playing to 3 men and a dog in a pub, you know, in the middle of nowhere, then you know, fair play.
They're quite obscure, some of these bands, aren't they?
Oh, they are.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Mike got off easy. Mike's Final Spiral, man. I
put in 3 and not one of them got chosen.
What did you put in?
Keen was one of them. I can't remember the other 2.
Okay.
Maybe, but they're a bit more well known compared to the rest of them. You know, which I thought a bit more obscure.
I see. The only thing I would have said was because I think everybody should have had at least one of their albums picked for them. So when my first mate came up, Willie Morbid, they said, right, we won't select any more of Jason's now, right? So that everyone who submitted something had a chance to have one of theirs reviewed, which obviously isn't happening.
I'm starting to wonder when we redo it again that chances are I might get my own one. You know,
well, they
might have to redo it, won't they?
They redo that.
Respin the wheel.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that'll definitely happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think it's kind of, you know, it wasn't my idea to have it be random. It was my idea to have it be tailored. It was more like, I have this in mind for you. And luckily, I think the one I gave to Mike was a good fit. But the one that Dave gave me was just, you know, torture.
I think I was having Mike in mind when I was sort of picking mine, you know, because I think Mike's a bit more open to various types of music.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a little more than others.
My original intent for Willie Morbid was Jimmy, because I know he likes his electro synth stuff, and I thought, you know, he would get that. Ian might get it. I'm not sure about Nick with the Virgin Marys though, because he's more punk and stuff like that than metal or rock.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he'll appreciate it for what it is, but hey, it's interesting. We'll see. You know,
I don't think you can really expect someone just to be converted. You know, in the space of a couple of weeks, can you? They're gonna be. I'll give it a go. You know, it was all right. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you know, you like you said, you're just fun but fair. You know, be honest.
Right.
Right. Say that you just why you didn't enjoy it or whatever, you know. And then if there are any redeeming qualities, if you know, you say, oh well, I like the vocals, you know, even if you don't like, say, the music itself, you think the guy's got a good voice or something, you know, whatever.
Yeah, it's just, you know, taking metal and making it symphonic or operatic is just kind of like, it's a very limited scope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can put off as many fireworks as you want, you know, and you know, I mean, yeah, you need a female singer, and dress them up in beautiful gowns to, you know, I mean, thank God for YouTube. Thank God for the live shows. That's all I can say, because if I just sit there and like listen to CDs, I'd commit suicide. I would.
Fair enough. Well, you know, say you can say all that, can't you? You know, at the time.
Yes.
Your collection
Thank
is
you,
made
Jason.
up of
Thank you for your
CDs.
support, Dad. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to say,
You know.
Jason said it was okay for me to trash this.
Well, what you know.
Firm but fair.
How many CDs do you own, Michael?
Oh, I don't know, a couple of hundred or so. Not that many. I really do like. I prefer vinyl.
Yeah,
I do, and you know, and a lot of the stuff I like is not even, you know, isn't on. It is on CD, but somehow it just leaves me flat. You know,
do you
I
actually play the disc, or do you actually burn it to your computer and play it?
Oh no, I play. I take the disc out and play it.
All right.
Yeah, but I wanted to tell you that it's funny because this week I've been listening to a ton of UK indie music that I'd never heard before.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all the stuff that you guys have mentioned on Ian's show. Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to just rattle off. I Am the Greatest, House, Alfie, A Word in Your Ear, Andy White. He's quite good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Aztec Camera.
Oh, yeah.
Beatnik Film Strip. The Bardos. Boys Wonder. Black.
Oh, Black. He did some good stuff.
Black's interesting. You know, I listened to a lot of it because I got this record store let me have the run of the place for 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Okay? It was just me and the owner. Monday, they had no customers. And I just went through bins and I just pulled stuff out and I shot video. Shot more video than I could possibly use. But they're indie. Every time I'm going to the indie bin, I'm like, where have I heard this before? I'm like, oh, Ian's show. Here's the Lotus Eaters. You know, here's this one. Here's that one. And hey, William.
Hey.
Hi, William.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing?
Good. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I was listening to all the bands you were just kind of getting into.
Yeah, well, appreciating because, you know, I have to, as I'm editing the jackets, I figured let me look them up and listen to them as I'm editing, you know. So I'm giving them each, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes review as I'm editing. I'll tell you, you know, a lot of that stuff in the 80s and 90s, there was so much copying going on. I mean, you're listening to it, and it's like, God, this sounds so much like. It's the same as America. Only one band can really break out and become famous, but it's like the influence of Oasis is so huge. The influence of you know, obviously the Beatles are so huge.
Yeah,
I don't want to deride it, but you guys had so many artists come and go, and there was so much overlap in terms of style.
Yeah,
yes,
you get scenes though, don't you?
What's that?
You get scenes. So, you know, once one band starts doing a particular type of music, some of the things, I can do that. I quite like that music. Let's have a bash, see what we can do.
Right.
It seems to be like, you know, this whole Oasis thing we've got now on a revival of indie music. You know, it's not just Oasis, it's a follow-on of other bands which now get a bit of limelight, you know, and come back. And
Yeah.
You know, it kind
Which
of
band,
spreads,
Simon?
doesn't it?
Which band?
Yeah,
Well, there's like I can't remember the name of the band. I know Morrissey, talking about Morrissey getting back with the Smiths.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was another band I was reading an article about, which has sold out a certain place in the UK within minutes, and it all seems to be on the back of this Oasis revival.
Yeah.
You know, it just everyone kind of, you know, even at my work, people was talking about, oh, we're going to get Oasis tickets without even a thought of where we're going to go or how we're going to get up there. It's all the vibe people get. It's all hype, isn't it?
yeah. No, I
Go
think people are excited for it. It is good to see, you know, people get excited over a reunion. But I think Oasis is truly in it for the money.
Yeah,
I think they're in it for the money, and then a month into it, Liam and his brother Noel are going to be fighting with each other, tearing each other's heads off, kicking each other in the nuts.
I don't think Liam's
It's
voice
going to be
is
like
gonna
the 90s all over again, man.
I don't think Liam's voice is going to hold out very well.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. And
I don't know. Look at Guns N' Roses. Wait, give me look at Guns N' Roses, right? I mean, Axl Rose and those guys, the way they acted when they in the early days, you have none of that now. It's polished stage act with hundreds of people behind it. I think that's what Oasis is going to be. I think Oasis is going to be staged fights, and I don't think it's going to be real at all.
Well,
it depends on
total cash machine.
I don't think Liam's going to be able to belt those tunes out. One, because of his age and his voice isn't what it used to be.
Yeah.
And the fact they got like back-to-back tours, like one on one day, on the next day, on the next day. So he's going to be sort of like almost protecting his voice, not giving it the full roar, you know, the full growl of his tone. He'll be holding back a lot because he knows I'll be doing this tomorrow for another 2 hours or whatever.
You guys want to make some bets? How about this? What happens first? Does Liam's voice go out on him, or do Noel and Liam tear each other's heads off, or will the booze get the best of them first? Does anybody have any guesses?
The booze?
No,
yeah.
Liam's voice will go.
You go with Liam's voice?
Yeah.
I think Noel and Liam aren't going to get along for any more than a month. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I think they can hang it out long enough to get the tours done. I think there might be a little bit of squabbling.
I mean, if you're in it for the money, got to stick it out.
That's it. It's a case of they're going to have to, aren't they?
Can I just say on the one thing I did hear is yes, it is for the money, but because fans have been demanding it for so long, I think that's part of it. And I'll tell you for why. Is that Bonehead? I can never remember what he played in the band, but he was in the original lineup anyway. And he's mates with both the brothers. And it was him and I think Liam's girlfriend. They'd been saying to him for a while, you know, do it. And I think that those were the two that persuaded them to finally do it. So, yeah, no doubt there will be money involved. But I do wonder if it's doing it because
I tend to think people still think we're still living in the 90s, that they're going to perform like they used to.
Yeah.
But even in the 90s, they weren't great live all the time. They were sometimes they were appalling. I mean, absolutely dreadful.
What?
You know, when Liam goes off on a strop and people are throwing stuff, and you know, they're not always successful.
It wasn't just that. It wasn't just that, though, was it? Liam. I mean, from what I see, Liam doesn't do very much on stage. He just stands there and goes with his hands behind his back, singing into the mic. That's
not physically, no, but I mean, he does work his voice to get those songs out.
Whereas a lot of the bands, they really get into what they're doing, and it's not put on. They're bouncing around the stage and having a laugh and smiling and everything. Liam's always looked miserable with sin.
Well, you know what other bands do when the lead singer is weak? They have backup singers.
Yeah.
You know, they got a team of talented, young, good-looking women and men. You know,
that's not going to happen, is it?
Providing that foundation. You know,
you got to get the Steely Dan Orchestra. something like that, right?
Look at the Rolling
It's gonna happen.
Stones. Look at
It's
the
a
Rolling
waste
Stones.
of
Look what they
talking
got.
about here. You know,
So-
it is a two-man band, really, isn't it? It's Noel and Liam.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I mean, you can't really have. I mean, is it the full original lineup, or is it? I mean, Noel and Liam are the two most important.
No, it won't be the original lineup because the drummer is completely. Well, he ended up suing them, didn't he? So he won't.
Yeah. See, I'm not even up on Oasis. I'm not even a huge fan, but it's good to see people kind of buzzing over that. I mean, whatever gets people excited these days, because there's not a lot of new music. You know,
There isn't.
not a lot of new music that's really blowing me away. But that's why I'm listening to my old Lee Hazelwood records.
Yeah.
Old time classic. One of my favorite. We got Lee and Nancy too.
Here we go. Look,
Yeah, just pulling out.
get those in there, didn't you?
Look, that's who I saw recently.
It Don't Rain in Indianapolis. What's the rest of that song, William?
What's that?
It Don't Rain in Indianapolis.
Oh, the lyrics?
Yeah.
No, shit, dude. I'm shitty on lyrics, man. I'm sorry. My fault.
Yeah.
When you see, that's the funny thing is sometimes you can have so many records that you forget what records even sound like, you know, or
Yeah.
or you for you know it's kind of good. It does owning over a couple thousand records. It does put you into a rediscovery phase more often than you would
Absolutely.
think. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you ever think to yourself, oh, "Crap, I've got too many records. What the hell?"
Oh
am I
yeah,
gonna do with
all the
this?"
time. No, I was just thinking the other day. I used to DJ, and I've been going through all my old DJ records, and I've been trying to get a good DJ set going for you guys here in the VC. But even going through that stuff, and when I stopped DJing, I'm like, I got like 9 or 10 boxes of 12 inches, and I just started selling them because I'm not DJing anymore. So
Some days it's absolutely fine, doesn't even cross your mind. But then some weeks might pass, and you think, "Holy shit, I've got far too many records. What the hell am I doing?"
Well, it's like when your hobby is going out and looking for records, and you come home with like, I used to come home with like between like 75 and 100 records a week, and that's like that's almost way too much. That's almost way too much to keep up with.
Yeah.
Let alone like cleaning, play testing, and trying to sell stuff, which is what I do. So
Yeah.
And what were you, how much were you spending? What were you finding them for at, William? How much was the average price when in your best days when you went out?
Oh yeah. Wild? I mean, even in recent years, I mean, I'm trying to shift from buying from, record stores and just being a wholesaler myself. So, which is a whole different curve you got to go through. But no, I mean, I try and get everything. That's what, the main focus of my channel, especially like last fall, was how to acquire stuff as cheap as possible. So that's what I try to do. So
it's doable. You just got to hunt around.
Well, as cheap as possible doesn't also mean that the condition is very good.
Yeah, you take what you can get. I mean, but I honestly do not mind a record that's got some background noise. I'm not an audiophile, so I like to have. I prefer my records with a little background noise. I'm not too picky.
Fair enough. I'll tell you what, I was well surprised then. I went into my local record store, when was it? Tuesday. Didn't get anything in the end because there's nothing that like stood out. But I was looking through the singles, and I was amazed at how much some of them have gone up by.
Right.
And the one I saw, I've got 2 copies actually of it. Funnily enough, is Bomb the Big Disc that came out in '88. I remember picking out for like $1.99 in Woolies or somewhere like that. Yeah.
Well, CDs are the sweet spot now. CDs are the sweet spot because CDs are now at $1 each. Don't you think so?
Oh yeah, the bargain of the century at the moment, aren't they?
Don't you think so, William? Don't you think that CDs are the bargain of the century right now?
Yeah.
That if you went into a store right now and you had $1 and there was a single there that was scratched up and a whole CD, you get, the CD is a no-brainer. I mean, you get more value for your money.
No, I can I used to go out and get like a big stack of CDs for like, about 60 cents a pop at, my thrift store, or I guess you guys call them charity shops in the UK, but
Yeah.
We do.
but they're so cheap that I think a lot of people are on it, and it's like it's also hard to find CDs because
It's hard to
vinyl's so
find
expensive that
something
people have
good.
gone back to CDs. So
It's hard to get after a few years of doing it. It's hard to find something worth buying, even if it's a quid. Because you just see the same stuff over and
true.
over.
that's it. That's the thing with charity shops. It typically is the case.
You do, and the same genres as well, classical as well. You see a lot of classical.
I think the main things in charity shops we get now, we get Don Williams, James Last, I think it is.
On vinyl.
Shirley Bassey's become quite prominent.
Who?
Shirley Bassey.
Oh, Shirley Bassey. Yes, a lot of Shirley Bassey here.
Yeah. So if you like her, and a lot of people do like her, so if you want to get a collection going of hers, then you can do so for quite cheaply.
Yeah.
What I have found though is the quality stuff, right? Whereas beforehand I could have gone in the shop and picked up for a couple of quid. Not anymore.
Right.
Not anymore. You're looking at there was a strange thing to look at, admittedly, but the original Muppet TV show, there was an album in there, and I thought it said 150. I thought, it's a bit nostalgic. I'll get that.
Yeah.
I missed the decimal point. It was 15 bloody quid. I thought, I'm not paying that. Not for that anyway. But I think the charity shops are getting wise to what they've got now. Whereas beforehand, even CDs to an extent, you could pick up 3 for a quid, and now they're like, 2-3 quid, depending on where you go, obviously. But yeah,
people don't want them, do they? And DVDs, people don't want those anymore. There's just
they're not going to pay those prices that people are trying to charge them. No,
there's charity shops down here won't even accept DVDs anymore because there's just some influx on them.
Yeah, that's funny.
There's that as well, yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple boxes of DVDs of like great movies, but no one. I mean, just the market for DVDs, nobody buys them anymore. So
No.
I don't even have a DVD player that works. So yeah, because laptops, they're not like, I just got a new laptop a year ago. They're not putting like DVD players into those anymore.
No.
And then to get a DVD player, it's like, I think what they got, like I've seen them around, they just have like, they look so small even that like they're so compact that I think they just make them, to connect to about anything, like any small screen. So
you can get external ones pretty freely available, aren't they?
What's that?
CD players or DVD writers for laptops and computers.
Yeah.
You get an external one.
I would also with it being harder to find or
that's a player.
harder to turn over DVDs and stuff like that. They're probably not making as many DVD players. So when like a DVD player breaks down, you got to get a new one. If they're not making as many players anymore, that could be the thing that would make owning a DVD like worthwhile. Is if like they quit making players altogether. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Well, it's like it's like if there's less of a demand for DVDs and everybody's streaming, everybody on Netflix, manufacturers aren't going to make DVD players as much.
Correct.
So to those people who
to play them, people are buying them to rip them, aren't they?
That too, but it's like even then you would have to have a DVD ripper. But no, you're right. That is what people do. The only thing is like what can you do with it afterwards? You really can't upload a whole movie up to YouTube unless, of course, you're Invisible Ray. But like I have a couple boxes of stuff that's like these movies aren't easy to they're not going to pop up on Netflix or like old blaxploitation movies, which I love to watch.
You do what I did. You buy yourself an external hard drive of 20 terabyte or something like that, and you literally rip your whole collection and throw it on an external hard drive.
Yeah. And I have an external hard drive from college that I just have like all my MP3 collection But funny thing, because when I got my external hard drive, I'm like, this is going to be, I'll put everything on here and I'll never run out of space. And I just never think of using it anymore. But actually, over the last week, I haven't been following my page at all, but I've been doing reviving my old DJ remixes. So I have actually opened up my old college laptop and have been pulling out some of those. That's been actually quite fun. But even seeing the reception that they've been getting, they're getting a lot more appreciation and credit than they were getting like 15 years ago. So, and that is actually not even necessarily the VC, because I think the reach is getting outside of the VC a little bit with those. But
right.
If you guys have been catching up with those are very fun. Those aren't easy to make. They seem easy, but half of the work was done some between like 10 years, some around 10 years ago. And now I'm just sort of cleaning it up and making it,
I've never been able to get into used to beat matching with stuff, right? I sort of know what you get an idea of what you think ought to go together.
Yeah.
In the song, and then when you actually lay it down, it's like, no, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, no. When I used to do like 80s nights, I would think of like, let's do a transition with these two songs. But when you realize like how much in difference in beats per minute, like they could be like two fast kind of sounding songs, but like there's a huge difference between like 118 BPMs and 128 BPMs. I mean, you can find like kind of a happy medium, but the best beat matching comes when like your BPMs are within like 5 BPMs of each other. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I beat match stuff with like, when you're 12 BPMs off, but it can be kind of harder to find that, but I'm actually going to I'll do a Monday stream. I'm actually going to talk about like my DJ life and learning how to DJ, because I've been doing like these sets and kind of been doing some tricks. And I kind of think like maybe some people, like it's going over people's heads. So I don't know. I was going to maybe kind of dice it out a little bit.
Are you still doing live streams, William? I'm a bit out of touch because you used to do it on a Monday, but I'm work a lot.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, the summer I've been trying to take off and take it easy, because I think I was getting a little bit too worked up with some of those like projects I was doing, and then it's like also I was like,
he's semi-retired. He's semi-retired from bashing Rachel.
Well, I can't even watch that show anymore. It's like I mean, it used to be like wake up, make my coffee, drink my coffee, and I just have it on in the background. And anymore, I just hear Rob the Wax bitching. And I'm just like, man, does this guy ever shut up? And then even like they're even trying to like pull me in and like make all these jokes about me. I'm like, man, I don't even care. I think you guys are lame. And I mean, and you know what the funny thing about Rob is like whenever you invite someone up to talk about politics, his answer is like, how many former U.S. senators do you even know? Yeah, that's right. None. Nobody. You're a moron. So, I mean, Rob Logic never ends, but...
Brilliant.
But, yeah. Shout out to Dave and Arnie in the chat.
So good. I just have to ask you what... I did, when I wake up in the morning, I kind of like just do a little skim just to see who the guests are. I'm always curious about who the guests are. But I'm like,
I'll tell you what.
It's refried, but
it's so
she dyed her hair black. Did you see this? You got to see this. Somehow Sue talked her into dyeing her hair.
Go.
You know who is new on that show? I can't stand Jade Starr. Or is it Jade? Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Now it's just like, I don't know where they're going with that. But then the guy, Marty, who drives in the truck every time.
So boring.
He just gets work, dude.
It's like the UPS. It's like the UPS driver dialing in.
I know.
I'm at Main Street. I'm at Broadway right now, making some deliveries.
You got to get off that show. You got to wean yourself off that show. If anyone's watching it,
I will say this: the one thing I do like is, first off, when they're arguing about politics, it is one big giant nothing burger. However, when you do have those people like Mr. Lundell, I think, and Rachel will keep him on to argue with the Wax or whatever, and will not kick him off. So I like how like she'll lead people on to argue with them. So that's what makes the show a little bit interesting. But I'm not kidding. If you guys want to know why VC channels ratings are down, I mean, it could have a lot of, what we do with our own channels. But I think Rachel really scared people away with the whole politics. And there's a lot of people who she deranged, or people said, I'm not coming back anymore. I'm like, a lot of those people were watching my channel. Like they might even be hate watching my channel, but they have no reason to hate watch my channel when they don't watch Rachel anymore. So
what happened to Saba? What happened to that guy Saba? He was like full of piss and vinegar, and he's like gone.
Well, and then I don't know. I mildly pay attention, but it's funny to see those people who religiously watched the show and defended them and timed people out, and now they're like, fuck this shit. Just like, hey, now you're on board with us. Now you know what we're talking about. But
I'm glad I don't get involved in any of that bullshit. I don't come onto YouTube for politics. That's not what it's about for me.
Politics should be kept out completely from a musical based live stream.
She's in Canada, for fuck's sake. Why does she care so much about the US? Like,
Prime Minister. I mean, the place is virtually Britain, is it not?
I will say this, because I do have sympathy for Canadians who want to have their country be more conservative. It's very socialist. So when America, when the US is more conservative, it does help out Canada. So there is some truth to that with what Rachel kind of says and complains about. But I still do think it's a lot of bickering and big giant like and what Norman says, that cunt, asshole, ass liquor, fucker, ass cunt, liquor, ass fucker. It's just like
it's fucking seeing a sense.
Not even a talking point.
Like that, isn't it?
That was good. If you got to back up your argument by swearing like a trooper, then you probably haven't got a very valid argument.
No. What is that? Oh, that's the Virgin. What is that? Is that the Virgin Mary's on your shirt there, Jason?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's always missing the A, right? In Mary's, is that it? Is that the?
Sorry.
It's missing the A in Mary's.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Virgin Marissa's.
I've never noticed that before.
Huh?
I've never noticed that before.
Well, it's missing the I in Virgin, is it not?
I don't know why they've done that. Maybe they've changed the name recently, and I didn't know.
This is your favorite group. You're always pitching the Virgin Marys.
Yeah, no, I never noticed it. Because I didn't expect it not to be there. That's why I didn't notice. No, I saw these are the guys. I saw these on Friday, the other week, along with Ugly Kid Joe. I'll tell you what.
Yes.
For as long as Ugly Kid Joe have been going, they're still there. I mean, I've never seen them live before, but they were bloody good.
Yeah.
Really, really good live.
I wanted to ask you something, Jason. I wanted to ask you something real quick. I heard that you saw Alien Romulus. Okay. And I loved the movie up until the point that abomination came out of her at the end.
Well, that was nonsense.
It's like that is. They always do that. They always. That's when they go off the reservation, and they just do this thing. It's where they just take absolute creative license and think that they're going to make something that there's going to be spin-offs on.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah, go on.
I was going to say, because I missed the first little bit of it because I dozed off and then got back into it about after half an hour. And I noticed they're taking, and this has been said in reviews, it was like Alien's greatest hits, and they tried to take all the good bits from all the other movies and put them in this one, because the whole human alien mix isn't new, is it?
The black guy's acting was incredible. His performance was absolutely amazing.
What, the Synthoid?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't know how an actor could do what he did in terms of like multiple personalities the way he did it. For that, I recommend it. Anyway, sorry guys, we digress.
We digress.
My apologies.
Bring it back, William. Bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring us back. Where we go?
I'm sorry, guys. See when you put the pressure on me, I sort of that's when I start to fail. You know.
Oh,
That's all right.
It's all right. I actually I got some stuff to kind of finish before my day ends here. So, but
Okay.
I wanted to pop in, and it's been a while since I've kind of live streamed. I did pop on to Paul Psycho Platters. I don't know how often you guys watch him, but that's like the only other live stream I'll even pop on. I don't know how. I don't know. I almost think like maybe I should just do like a. You never know. I'm going to do a shock Rachel's Ghost appearance. So.
I think I should be
the
like
live
Patrick.
streams are
I
a
wish
bit quiet
PB Thal would
this
have
time
me
of
on
year,
this
aren't they?
live
I think they'll start to pick up very shortly.
What's that?
I think live streams are a bit quiet at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of political seasons. What's taking people away, and I think really, I think the VC just was for entertainment for people who are kind of bored with other stuff, and then they just they're just amused by VC drama. I have this theory. Think of like A-list Hollywood celebrities.
Yes.
What do they watch for entertainment? Because if they're A-listers, they have to watch people below them to be entertained, right? I almost feel like some of those A-listers watch all of us normie people make an ass out of ourselves on Rachel's Ghost because that's what entertains them is watching normal people be weird. I don't know. I know if I were famous, I would watch all that's. I would basically look at everyone like a goofball. I'm sure, but I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's the way I treat celebrities anyway. When I've met them, I just treat them like ordinary people. Have a bit of a natter. If they've done something that I appreciate, I'll say, thank you for doing that or whatever. No, it's do they look at themselves like A-listers? Do they actually see themselves that way? They may.
I don't know.
I'm in a high-profile movie. Some of them are very humble.
William, the very fact that you could follow what he just said, I think is amazing.
No, well, the thing is, it's like when you get in person with these people, or like you can view them as like larger than life type people, or you get used to seeing somebody on a screen. But when you get to know these people or their real lives, you truly see how humanizing it is to see like they just do everything normal like we do. When you take the makeup off their face too, they don't look so, they look like just a normal person, and they don't have camera filters or anything.
The funny thing is, some of the top stars, right, are very, very nice, and then you get someone that's under them, right, or hasn't been as successful, and they're incredibly arrogant. I mean, I've met Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger. He was very pleasant. Danny Glover, he was a nice guy. Brian Blessing, who the American guys might not know, very, very nice chap indeed. Right?
You met Danny Glover under what circumstances, Jason?
At a con.
At a what?
A Comic Con.
Oh, a Comic Con.
In Yorkshire.
All right.
Yeah.
Was he promoting a movie?
Just a signing. It was just, I don't think he was promoting any movie in particular. It was just, there was a guest. They do that, they get some of the older celebrities in. They're quite happy to come down and do stuff. That was the same one that John Cleese was at from Monty Python. He's a really nice guy as well. But no, the one we had problems with is, do you remember Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah.
Right,
the actor?
Jeffrey.
Will Smith.
No, not Will Smith.
Yes, I knew
He
it.
was in it, but yeah, Jeffrey the butler.
Yeah.
Really arrogant son of a bitch. Right? my mate, right? I wanted to meet him because I love the show, and I thought I'd never met any of the Fresh Prince cast before. And I said, did you find that Jeffrey was very cutting in his remarks, as in his role? And he just went, well, I didn't watch it, you did. And I thought, yeah, well, you were the bloody character, mate.
Yeah. No, I think
you're a daft thing to say.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, some of those like lower supporting cast characters get it real, like, you know, they get it in their head, like I was the butler on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know, kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, that one thing that they did in life, they,
It's like,
you know,
it's like, yeah, what have you done since?
Yeah.
He's dead now, isn't he, that guy?
is he?
Who?
Yeah, he died a while ago.
I see. I don't even know his real name, so.
Yeah.
Is that the
You
guy
sure about
that
that?
Jason was trashing?
The Butler's died,
The
yeah.
butler in Fresh Prince of
When
Bel-Air.
was that then? Because he didn't do he did a convention not all that long ago.
Pretty sure he did.
Oh, it makes me feel bad mouthing off him now.
All that.
No, but he had a go at my mate for taking photos, right? And the person that was helping him, the assistant, said, "Right, stop taking shitting photos." Right? And he goes, "Yeah, stop taking photos." Right? My mate was like, you know, "Oh, sorry," right? And he goes, "Yeah, there's a sign on there, so don't take photos." And he goes, "Oh, I didn't notice it." Right? I'm sorry about that. Right? He goes, "Oh, you're not sorry, are you? Because otherwise you wouldn't have done it." And it's like, and my mate goes, "Well, I'll pay for it if you want." It started poaching it in. The guy put his hands up, thinking my mate was being a bit intimidating and backed away. Didn't say anything after that. But I thought, what a thing to say, you know. But no, he's been in stuff like EastEnders and Colby City and stuff like all British TV shows since. Not a bit of theatre work. I think it's more known for his theatre work than anything else.
Oh.
But yeah, I didn't think he'd passed away.
Yeah, you know what? I think Simon said something as the show started. Like, sometimes like people are living so long that like,
I should have.
what were you saying, Simon? Like people like are living longer than
living longer than they ever have.
Yeah, because I've been getting like I'll get like a notice on my phone sometimes of like some actor pass away and they're pass away at the age of 88, and then you look and see who it is, and they're like some supporting cast member in like
there in their 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
I had a thought while I was working. I just thought in my mind. I don't know why. I don't know what triggered it. I started thinking about the tennis champion Billie Jean.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, she's got to be dead. She's got to be dead. I was convinced she was dead, right? So I get my phone out. And I was like, Billie Jean, Googled it. She's still alive. She's in her 80s. It's like, no. Wow.
For years before he went, the big one for that was old Alex Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Right, about 10 years before he actually died, everybody thought he was already dead. I thought, poor bloke, I know he's old, but come on.
It's bad enough when I have these thoughts, they actually die like a couple of months down the line. So I should stop thinking like that altogether, really.
And yeah, some of the ones we lost. Remember the bit it was almost like a cull in 2016, wasn't it? When we had all the pop stars go.
We're going to have some pretty big deaths. Paul McCartney will probably be one of the biggest.
Yeah.
They're all going to happen. They're all going to happen close to one another because it's inevitable. You don't know. I mean,
you know what though, guys? Like, think of it this way: Willie Nelson is 90 years old, and he's still kind of healthy in a way. I know him and his wife had COVID, and there was a point where they had to turn his home into like a hospital in a way. But he's got a lot of money. He's pretty much well off, and I think he'll be able to pay medical bills, especially like people like Bob Dylan, Keith Richards. Yeah. I mean, the Rolling Stones in general, a lot of those guys are still kicking and making records still. So it's almost like you can be old and aging, but if you have the money, I mean, there's so much technology and medicine out there to keep people alive. Like, and the other thing other point I was making when Simon was talking about people living longer is like so many people. I'm seeing like old actors pass away at like 88 years old, and like I look and see who it is. I'm like, I don't know who these people are, and it's like people are like living so longer that like maybe I'm too young or I'm in a generation prior, but it's like when I see like a celebrity has died, a musician has died or something, I tend to think like No, that's a pretty big deal. Or like there was even one today who passed away, and let me see if I'm sorry. I see. I already forget. Shows my knowledge. Anyway, I'm sure it'll come to me. But anyway, yeah, it's like people are just living longer than they were normally. Don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
I read a
There's a
headline
couple
that
of-
Jack Nicholson is like his mind is totally shot and he's just wandering around his mansion.
Yeah. It's happened to a lot of them, isn't it? I mean, poor old Bruce Willis.
Right?
I know. He's
Right.
not exactly complex mentis anymore.
No, it's not. Is it?
It's quite tragic when you think about it, really, because, you know, these guys were,
Oh,
for a while anyway, you know, they were, were considered
Oh.
legends, you know.
hey, you guys know who passed away today? I'm sorry.
I don't. It was your,
I mean,
it was your
okay.
story.
Well, no, there's a guy. There's a guy who has a yacht. His name is Pablo, and he's got a lot of these records. But I did want to let everybody know that actually Sergio Mendes passed away. That's who I was talking. That's pretty. This is a pretty big one here. So you guys might remember I actually did an impression of The Wax where I cleaned this record, or I did a mock parody sketch of me cleaning this Sergio Mendes record. But no, he passed away today.
You're right. You're right. Sergio Mendes, Brazil 66.
Yeah.
Changing the subject a
Some of
little
that,
bit.
very mainstream bossa nova music for its time, but really good. I love putting on that kind of bossa nova. Like Walter Wanderley would be like one of those records I would always kind of pick up. Very good loungy music, or very accessible. Like I don't know if you're having friends over, just like a small gathering at your house, throwing on some Sergio Mendes is actually not a bad way to tie the room and everything together. But yeah, rest in peace, Sergio Mendes.
Going back to actors, Clint Eastwood
Yeah.
is getting up there a bit, isn't he, in age?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He is.
That's
Who
going to
was
be.
that?
I mean, he was old when he was old like 30 years ago.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Sorry, who was that?
Clint Eastwood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a mega star, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of these guys, though, they seem to have lost their spark a little bit. Right, as I said, Danny Glover, he's an old man now. He's definitely an old man. When they said that he was going to be in a new Lethal Weapon film, I thought, how the hell are they going to do that?
Yeah.
He's not altogether with it. He kept on. They did a chat with him. You know, people will ask questions and everything, and someone go around with a microphone, and he kept on zoning out. Just kept zoning out.
Yeah.
Forget halfway through his train of thought, and then forgot
I
what
kind of
he was talking
disagree
about.
with you there a little bit, Jason, because I think a lot of these big actors they hang around beyond their kind of age range. You know, when they're sort of old to too old, they're still hanging around doing stuff. When you think,
Well, yeah, but
time now, you know, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, they're always still going and making big films in their 50s, and 60s, and 70s.
But there's a big difference, though. Male actors are able to act a lot later into their career, whereas, like, you know, female actors like Kirstie Alley's acting career, you know, and it didn't last nearly as long as like Ted Danson's, for example.
Yeah.
You know, who were both on Cheers, I guess. You know.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. And he reinvented himself on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so it's like and like even like John Travolta, who was big in like Grease in the late 70s and then had a comeback, you know, in Pulp Fiction. So it's like you know, men are able to sort of reinvent themselves in a way, whereas like unfortunately just women, you know, Hollywood is always looking for the young, beautiful, you know.
There are exceptions to the rule, though.
True. Yeah.
Judi Dench is one.
Or, you know,
harder for actresses, isn't it? Because
did you guys see? You guys might not watch the Super Bowl. Like, I mean, here in the U.S., that's like a U.S. culture thing. But like seeing Dolly Parton at the Super Bowl, man, I totally shag Dolly Parton still.
Oh my!
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, she was like dressed up as like a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. I'm like, damn, I don't know. I'll never not look at Dolly Parton and be like,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'll stop there.
Yeah, that's all right, mate.
There are exceptions.
Yeah, I think it's the nature of Hollywood, though, isn't it? I think it's a bigger thing as in England, because I think England, they're pretty sort of like, well, I'm sure we can find something for this person to do, regardless of their age. Whereas Hollywood, it's the glitz, the glamour, and all the rest of it, isn't
We
it?
seem to have a shorter range, don't we? Where American actors hang on for a lot longer than British actors.
Yeah, these are some of the this RCA mid 70s, which are a little bit more easier to find, but that's kind of the thing with Dolly records. The later in her career, typically those are the easy ones to find, but I used to find these all over the place. And
is she popular in the UK, fellas?
I think so. You guys, I think
you do, but you don't live there.
Well, no. Well, the thing about I was going to just say, UK dolly presses are a lot harder to acquire than other US presses. So I always look out for I do have a few UK press Dolly Parton records, which see that's the thing I mentioned here on Simon's stream a few times. I love the German presses, the European presses. You guys have. Yeah, you guys are so lucky. I wish I could get my hands on a lot of that stuff. And in fact, I think I've shown a few of those Dream records that are UK presses that I just was hey, as long as I got to pay an arm and a leg to get something, may as well have the UK press. So I'm all about.
There's a lot to be said about German pressings. They're very, very good.
And I'm not. That's saying something. I'm not an audiophile at all, but it's the quality of it, holding it in your hand, it completely is different than what I'm holding, a Columbia press from the 70s. It's a completely different experience. And like I said, I'm not an audiophile, but
do you prefer to have a European?
Sure, yeah.
Even it's American artists, you still prefer to have it on a European.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, because a lot of people like to if the band is from whatever country you want to, I am that way with my UK punk records. Certain things the Jam, for example, I have my US press Jam records, and I'm okay with those. But I think it does mean a little bit something to have the record where the artist is based from, or if you're that nerdy, it's not necessary, I think, but
no.
But I mean, of course, see, us record collectors, we get all nitpicky, and we want to have this pressing plan, or we want to have a copy of every Bob Dylan record from Pittman and Terre Haute and Santa Maria, and all on the shelf, stereo, mono, whatever. So see, but that's the thing is acquiring.
I'm normally not fussed, but I wouldn't mind an American copy of maybe Pet Sounds, because I find Beach Boys are pretty much the ultimate American band. Aren't they? And maybe albums on US press.
But do you think the audio quality is going to be any different, Simon, between?
No, it'd probably be worse, I'd imagine.
It'd probably be worse on a US press, but my go-to Pet Sounds is a 66 UK. I have in the other room. I have an OG UK press of that record, and
that mono.
I think it's a stereo.
I think mine's an 88 reissue. I can't remember.
And really, I mean,
definitely a more recent one anyway.
Yeah, that record in general, if you can get your I'll still actually here in the U.S. I'll still run into a pretty beat copy of Pet Sounds if you're lucky. I think actually one of the last records I got from the Goodwill was a still acceptable copy of Pet Sounds, but.
It's the collector in me what just sort of wants it, even though I know it probably won't sound as good as maybe a UK copy.
It really depends, and then also with the Capitol presses, Scranton, which is based in Pennsylvania, was kind of one of the main Capitol presses, but they were also kind of known for not having the best quality, so they would kind of commission those. Jacksonville was kind of better for quality control for the Capitol presses, or Los Angeles also. So yeah, I would. If you can get a Scranton, that's fine. Most Scrantons you don't have a problem with, but like for Capitol presses,
So, if you've got you got a classic album, right? Now, it's obviously certainly in the last I don't know, 20, 25 years, we've got all these like major remastered records.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to have the original sound quality?
Yeah.
Or the enhanced sound quality?
I prefer the original, and I was actually just going to hold this up. I had Rio Grande Mud on the turntable, and this was just like right after all that Steve Westman stuff, with the box set, and he was heavily promoting this. Funny thing is, Steve mentioned that he's not much of a ZZ Top fan, so it was, he will do a whole live stream and promote a record like the Mariah Carey Christmas, for example. So, but I mean, having this, I love the analog sound. You can tell that this came from the 70s. And I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the Kevin Gray records sound fine, but I imagine I do think records are being pressed a little too rich sounding these days, and I think I think that's you might be taking. I think that the extra step is a little bit unnecessary, and just a gimmick, and just try to like really, especially with like Black Sabbath, it's like you should really have that record. But okay, here's what I see with the Black Sabbath record is they've tried to do like the first Black Sabbath is like 180 gram, and there were a lot of people who were like, okay, no, I like the 180 gram. It's a higher quality, whatever. I think 180 gram is overrated. What kind of took that over is like the whole wave of audiophile. But even still, it's like it's just an attempt to make something sound richer. Or it's like Kevin Gray's been honestly mastering records since the early 70s too. Yeah. So I think they try to really emphasize that here's a guy who came from that, like, that time frame of like,
surely,
an age of, or what would you, an era of pressing records where like, there truly was like an analog sound that you haven't been able to recreate since the 70s. So to like say like you have a guy like Kevin Gray doing the mastering, I get it because it is an old name. Or like they still have like Robert Ludwig will do mastering for like, Pearl Jam records or Rage Against the Machine he's done even. So it's like it's cool to have the name, but I still think there's an era of vinyl. Like when I go to listen to ZZ Top, I want this. I don't need a Kevin Gray. Of course, if Steve Westman wants to send me the box set for free, I'll gladly take it and I'll make a video about it.
I think you're right there, William. I think they are trying to pull the wool over a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah, totally.
They make these albums with a bit more pop to them. I think a lot of that as well is it's targeted at people who have like maybe entry-level turntables, so they stick out a little bit more,
Yeah, well, also with all these, like, go look up on Discogs, like the Black Sabbath Hi-Fi Kevin Gray that came out a few months ago. There are people still already selling that for like $80 or $90. So it's like it's not just it's gimmicky, and then it creates a new hype around an album that's been out for like over 50 years, and it's like
you always get that.
Yeah, I mean, my copy of the first Black Sabbath, I mean, it's probably G+, but like, I don't complain, and it's a 1970 press. That's how I want to listen to it anyway.
You know what kind of gets me? Okay, here you got a lead guitar, rhythm guitar, bass, drums, singer. Okay,
yeah,
that is rock music, and here we're all like debating the nuances of the quality of these recordings. I mean, it's fucking rock music, and it's now in the audiophile realm. Do you realize how silly this all sounds?
It's silly in a way.
Older, our ears degrade. So I mean, this is all just such subjectivity bullshit.
Yeah. No, for a lot of the records that are coming out, like Black Sabbath, I don't think they were having a hard time mastering metal records in the 70s. What they were having a hard time mastering was punk records. So in the mid-70s, anything Stooges kind of sounded a little sludgy. Some of the Ramones records sounded just like kind of blistering sometimes, or the Damned, the first Damned record. A lot of that stuff they had trouble mastering. So it's like I see why you would go back and have like the 1997 Iggy mix of Raw Power, because that record sounded like shit anyway. But to me, like, you know, the ZZ Top records that were coming out in the 70s, that's the way that stuff should sound. Or like Steely Dan records, that like a Santa Maria, any Santa Maria Steely Dan record should be fine. You should really not, I mean,
I don't debate that. I agree.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, Steely, like for real, I've been collecting records for over 20 years, and to see people like overpaying for those records blows my mind. But like, I still can go out, find one of those types of albums for particularly cheap, and then I get them, clean them, put them on the turntable, and then I start to think of like UHQR, Mobile Fidelity. I'm like, I wouldn't even, you know, I put that money towards my light bill. Those records are not good investments either. So it's like, I mean,
they don't sell well here.
What's that?
Don't you lose some of the rawness though? If you remaster an album, especially a rock album, you lose some of that rawness because it's too polished.
Right. Well, and then also, what I don't like is it's like when you master something when it first comes out. For example, like metal. I'm going to use this example. The band Megadeth. They tried to do this in the mid 2000s with the band Megadeth. And they took all their albums and they tried to make them sound more like 2000s metal, and they sort of just like it was just flat, or like people were not happy about them, or lots of complaints on those. So it's like that's the downside of trying to master something, you know, 10, 20 years down the line. It's like now you're trying to make it sound more for today's ears. Or Beatles, the 2022 Beatles Revolver box set. I just got the 1 LP. When I played that, I was just like, dude, this sounds like, you know, I could be playing it next to a Taylor Swift record. And I think that's what they're doing, is they're making music so that, like, you know, Taylor Swift fans will accept the Beatles, or like, so newer, younger people will accept like ZZ Top, or I don't know.
They're putting lipstick on a pig. They're dressing it up.
That's a good way to put it, Michael.
Their audience. That's your point. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, lots of gimmicks, lots of sales. There is some good stuff. Okay, here's one thing that I will say, because I did just mention Megadeth, is the Metallica and Justice for All. I don't know if you know this whole controversy, but Lars Ulrich told the engineer to take the bass out of the record altogether. So when you listen to that record, the closer you listen to it really closely, it sounds like a rock hitting a chalkboard kind of thing, because there's no bass in it, and it sounds like, you know, it just lacks a richness, or it just sounds like it's missing something. But I mean, you know, it has more to do with Cliff Burton passing away. The only thing is if you wanted to respect the memory of Cliff Burton, you would have left the bass in the record, I would say. But that's an album that I think that they should still go back. You talk about all this Mobile Fidelity, Kevin Gray, yada, yada, yada. Stuff like that is necessary. So like putting the bass back on Ain't Justice for All, that would be something I'd be interested in. But I think, you know, ZZ Top remastering, I mean, maybe I got to listen to the box set. Like I said, if Steve Westman wants to send me, hit up my channel, Pumping Vinyl, send me a comment, and we can arrange getting me a free box set, and I'll give it a great, riveting rave review on my channel. But for I'm analog. I'm a true record digger, and that's kind of the way I learn. And seeing all this new stuff.
I think today's youth have been spoiled by auto-tune and all the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, another thing, speaking of like Oasis, though, there's another thing, is like they didn't make a lot of Oasis vinyl in the 90s. So now that they're a band again, you're going to get into like, you know, these higher quality Oasis albums, and they're going to be, you know, 40, I mean, probably more in the UK, $40 here for us minimum when they do stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that surprised me.
They're quite obtainable, like these reissue Oasis albums on vinyl.
Yeah.
They got quite a few singles in the charts at the moment, haven't they? They have reissues.
Have they?
Yeah, I don't know if it's been a physical reissue or not.
Right.
But certainly digital. Don't Look Back in Anger's back in the charts. There's a couple of other ones just since they've announced this tour.
Wow.
About 2 or 3 singles in the top 40, I think.
I wouldn't have thought they'd be any interested in the singles.
William, have you ever bought a collection? Have you ever negotiated purchasing a collection from somebody?
Yes and no. I mean, a collection could be, you know, as many as 2,000 or more, or it could be as few as a couple boxes. So a collection, I mean, it's really what your definition. I have actually, I've been in contacts with a few people to like acquire like a 5,000 piece collection. There was a guy a year ago who was out of state, and he just wanted too much for it. And I was like, to drive there, pack it, and get it, and then give him his price. I'm just like, I can't do that. But like, I don't know. Plus, like the times in recent years when I've tried to acquire collections, people know the value and know that their stuff is worth a ton of money. So it's like I bought 2 boxes from a lady last summer. I gave her $150 for it, but like she kept trying to get the next $5, that next $10. Like, so how about 160? And I think maybe I just ended up giving her like 160 or something just to get her to shut up. But it was like, you know, I was up front with her. It's like, you know, I'm going to give you 160 for this whole box. I'm letting you know some of the stuff I do have to just take to the Goodwill, and that I'm doing that to you. I'm doing that as a favor for you.
Right.
Is what I would say. So, but no, acquiring. I think, yeah, no, the most I've successfully acquired is like 2 boxes, but no, those people with the 5,000 collections. Okay, so no, one guy last year, I think he lived in Indiana, so that's a couple states away from me. I was in contact, and he had a lot of the old country stuff, which I love. Why would I drive another state away to overpay for some country records, even though it was some stuff that I wanted? And then like a month later, he contacted me again and was like, hey man, if you wanted it for that price, that's totally fine. And I understand you got to drive and everything. So it's like, and by that time I was like, by that time I was done. Yeah. So
he didn't have a buyer. He never.
Right. No, and that's it. That's the thing is a lot of people want or expect too much from their collection. And, you know, it's hard to turn it over. I do know someone here locally in Omaha whose father passed away, and knew he had a lot of rare records, but sort of just said, okay, we're going to sell them. It's going to be $5 a pop. And to be truthful with you guys, if that almost is the way to go. Like, even if you know you got a record that's like 30 or 40 bucks, put a $5 tag on it, put a $10 tag, or
feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like if you're more, because you don't have to wait, hold your breath for somebody to buy it for $40 on the internet, which is sometimes hard to pull off, or, you know, holding your breath for a sale is a whole different thing. But like, you sell them all 5, 5, 5, 10, 10, 10, you get your money all in a big sum, you make a lot of people happy, and then you don't have the stress and the burden of trying to like make it, you know, maximize your dollars.
Yeah, I think as a seller, that'd probably be the better way to go, because you don't want someone to come round and have them cherry pick all the good stuff out of your collection.
Right. Yeah.
And leave you with the kind of dross stuff, which you can't no longer get rid of, because all the good stuff is now gone.
See, and that's what I did with like that lady last year. Is like, she had a lot of good stuff and then a lot of bad stuff. But I was upfront with her. Is like, what I don't do is I'm not going to take your good stuff and leave you with the rest. And I know people who will do that, but I'm like, I'm going to give you a fair price, because I know the guy behind me might come up and say, hey, I'll give you more for that. So I try and give them, you know, I try to be as fair with them as possible. So,
I mean, the thing is it's you can go on Discogs or anything like that, and it might say there's an album, right? It's worth, you know, average of 80 quid, right? But if nobody wants to buy it at the time, you're stuck with it. So it's only worth that much if people are prepared to buy it and pay for it at the time. Otherwise, you know, it ain't gonna shift. It'll be sat in your cupboard for ages, possibly go down in price later on. You know.
Yeah.
Because I think
records are a hard sell for a lot of people, aren't they? People aren't good at selling records, and they just rather get rid of the lot and not have to worry about it or think
Right.
about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Don't
that selling a collection is super difficult. And then I've been trying to kind of get this conversation started on my channel, but like here in the next 10 to 20 years might be that time again where it's like you can buy records for $1 a piece, or I mean, here's the thing: is like when records started to become available in the 90s, what were you finding? Like, the Carly Simons, all the stuff that they were pressing heavy. So in like the next 10 to 20 years, all like the Taylor Swift's going to show up for like next to nothing, because it's like it's all the records that they spent pressing nowadays that people want. In 20 years, people might not want anything to do with them.
Right.
So.
It's got to be like Funko Pops, isn't it? They're going to be working for 10, 20 years,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Well, I don't know. We might need to get Jimmy Barnes up here to explain to us the whole the whole market of Funko Pops. I better stop there. Yeah. Chin chinnery chin chin chin. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I will say this: making me the target of your parody game doesn't result in that person's success.
Your mate's been trolling us, fellas. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Your mate's been
I
trolling
was
us.
aware. Yeah.
Yeah. I think whatever. I don't know. You know me is like I'll play that game with you, but I mean at the same time it's like do I sit here wake up every day and my butt hurt and mad about Jimmy Barnes? I'm like no, I can't be. I don't know.
It's tit for tat, isn't it?
Tit for tat.
Here's the thing: is I am a little offended how he went up on Rachel's Ghost and started bashing my name a little bit, but especially because Norman has told me, who Norman doesn't really know my channel, but he says Norman will say I don't make content, which is absolutely false. I make great content. Maybe that's what goes over Norman's head so much is he doesn't know it when it hits him. But then he'll sit here and just the butt kissing that was going on. I'm like, give me a break, man. I mean, I gotta get the air freshener out in my room for all the butt kissing that's coming out of my computer right now. Anyways.
Guys, I'm incredibly tired, so I'm gonna go.
Oh,
Yeah,
right, Jason.
I'll see you around some. Well, be Thursday, won't it?
Yeah, cool,
Good
Jason.
luck with the Gary Newman.
All
good
right,
luck with your Gary Newman listening. And
Yeah, that's all right.
cataloging and recording.
It's done and sorted. I've done it all already, so I'm ahead of the game.
Good,
I
good,
await your
good.
report.
All right.
Hope you feel better
Bye,
soon,
guys.
Jason.
Yeah, probably. See you later.
See you later.
Cool, cheers.
Well, and then there were three.
Yeah.
Agree.
We're having a good time. I always like your channel, and I
Yeah,
like when you
good,
tune
good,
in. It's always good
good.
conversation. Yeah.
No, I was
Because you're a
trying
bit
to,
of a persona non grata in the UKVC, William. You knew that, right?
Yeah, no, I knew. I'm anywhere I go, I could be a little bit polarizing. So,
Huh.
hey, you done well today. Yeah.
But, you know,
Well.
I think I'm good company. I make a conversation always interesting when I jump on, and that's what I try to do. Some people think I'm boring, but I don't know. I always think,
Well, I don't think you're boring.
Yeah, no.
yeah, I don't know. I think people are just hating on me, or I don't know. I've been looking at
Stay
Davey
fair,
Strange.
Steve.
That's a whole nother kettle of fish. Let's not go there.
Davey?
Clear
It's
of
best
the
not,
BS,
it's best
William,
not to
would be
mention his
fine.
name.
All right, all good. I don't know what's going on there, but well, you do you, bro. Whatever.
Exactly. You do you.
Yeah.
You do you.
Anyway, yeah, I do. I guess I kind of stayed on for about another hour or something, but I got some kind of stuff I need to wrap up here. But
Okay.
I'm going to wrap it up in 5 minutes anyway. So you want to,
cool.
you know.
Well, yeah, no, good to see you back up here. I'll try and tune in on, I might not be able to call in every week, but, wanted to at least pop in and say hi. So,
Yeah, sure. Once in a while, whatever you know.
absolutely.
You feel like it?
A chin wag, as they say.
Yeah. Chin wag.
I feel like I got to gotta get a really arrogant look on my face when I put my chin in the air. Like, I'm going to just start doing that. Just jump on everyone's live stream. Anyways, just having some fun, but peace to the UKVC, and we'll catch you guys here later.
Talk soon. Okay,
All right.
bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right. Well, We never get to have a one-on-one, you and I,
this
do we?
is the first time in it will ever, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so back to that indie stuff. I had a really it's you know it's like I go up on ranking the obscure, and you guys banter off all these records, and I got to admit, I just kind of never paid attention to them. But this week I've been listening to a lot of it. It's been really interesting. Never
There's
listened
been
to it before.
a bit of a British kind of revival, hasn't there? There's
I don't know if it's been a revival, but there's this store in Tokyo that I've never seen so much material from the UK in one store. It'll blow your mind. When you see this video, you're going to be like, I cannot believe this stuff is in Japan.
well, on Japanese vinyl.
No, UK original
UK.
pressing, and they have a lot of autograph stuff too. The owner of the store brings British bands to Japan. He's bringing the Meteors next month, so he's a bit of a concert promoter. And I guess when he works with the bands, records become part and parcel with the business activity. So he got a lot of exclusive stuff for his store, but nobody knows about it. It's just some of the bigger retailers, they're more trafficked, and a lot of the independent stores here are like graveyards. Nobody goes there. So I've kind of like I've kind of been interested in doing promos about these stores just to get interest drummed up about what they have, because they're not really internet savvy. A lot of the Japanese stores are not putting their stuff on the internet.
No, I think you said that in the past, that they stick to their bricks and mortar store and they don't go outside the realms of the internet world at all.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes things a bit more restricted, doesn't it? You only can sort of sell in the area. You can't branch out too far.
So it really, it's only the real troopers who are going to like save up money and get on a plane and come and shop. And there's just like, once you do that, you've really thinned out the herd. There's very few people that are going to do that.
Yeah, but for the locals like yourself, it's ideal because you can go around there and you can snap this stuff up pretty quickly.
Yep.
Which I'm assuming that's what you're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the way to go about it. If you like it, why not?
Right.
I never had you down, to be honest with you, for indie music.
Well, it's not that. It's just, there was a lot of decades where I just didn't listen to music at all. Especially, like, I didn't pay attention to the new music that was coming out.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like catching up in a big way.
I'll be honest with you, I'm probably about a decade off, maybe more than that, of really sort of knowing all the bands. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm still catching up.
That's why I like Mike's Vinyl Spiral, because he's just like soaking it up, and enthusiastic about it, and he's very discerning about what he likes and what he doesn't like. So he's really good wealth of information about British indie stuff. I mean, he really embraced pop music. He said it himself, when pop music occurred, he was all over it.
Yeah.
And I don't think he meant pop music from the 60s. I think he meant pop music from the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah. I've always struggled to keep up with the modern stuff. Some of it you can, and some of it I find I need it to mature a little for a few years before I can give it time to give it a listen. Not everything, but a lot of things. And it's such a backlog now. Maybe 15 years I'm catching up, but it is kind of fun to catch up.
Yeah.
You've got a little sort of space in time where you think, well, I've got everything else in the previous years, but this little section, this little decade, I really need to sort of see what little gems I can find. And there's always something. So it's good fun. So would you say your collection, just out of interest, would you say you got more or less Japanese pressings than your other pressings?
I've got more Japanese pressings. When I first came here with what I had in my moving stuff, it was all U.S. and U.K. And it just seems to be. Let me put it to you this way: if you take, let's say, I'm after an Eagles record as an example. I'm not into the Eagles, but if I go to the auction sites, the Japanese pressings are cheaper than the UK US pressings.
Yeah.
They're all here, but you pay a premium for the US and the UK stuff here.
Of course,
Japanese stuff is cheaper, right?
Yeah.
And it may or may not have the OB, but the disc is in excellent condition. The jack is in excellent condition, so I buy it because I'm not. The people who buy it with the OB are buying it for bragging rights or for resale.
Yeah. Do you cross over? Let's say you have a UK or American pressing of a particular album, and you come across the Japanese version. Do you think, oh, do I buy that because maybe it sounds a little bit better?
Sometimes, and you know what?
So you end up-
Sometimes I've been absolutely wrong. A perfect example: Dexys "Don't Stand Me Down." The U.S. pressing is so much better sounding than the Japanese pressing. The Japanese pressing is like dull. Foxtrot by Genesis, the Japanese pressing, dull as cardboard. The UK, US pressing, so much better. So it just depends. Some Japanese pressings are complete dogs.
Right. Is there a reason?
Not maybe they didn't get the best generation of the tape. I mean that's the argument that most people make. They get second or third generation, or the mastering engineers just weren't. They dulled it down for whatever reason.
I've heard they deliberately take
The bass
out, don't they, of the Japanese pressing, because they don't like bass to travel through other homes, don't they? They're very conservative on their sound, aren't they? They like it to remain in a tight quarter, and they find it rude that the next door neighbor might hear it, so they deliberately do that. Because they're an oddly polite nation, aren't they? The
Completely.
Japanese, in the way they think, in everything.
Everything. Soundproofing is a big business here, so they will go to great lengths to soundproof a room. So to buy U.S. pressings with heavy bass and play it as loud as they can, but make sure the sound doesn't escape to the neighboring home.
Yeah.
And just the politeness is just it's through the roof, and it's among everybody, all walks of life.
How did you adapt to that? Because it couldn't have been easy.
Married into it.
You married into it, so you had no choice really. You just had to go along with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you learn it. But you learn and you appreciate it, and it's funny because I've lived here twice, and I lived here from the late '80s to the early '90s, and then I moved to New York City, and that was such a slap in the face. I mean, to go from such a polite society to New York City was just mind blowing.
Yeah,
right?
It's two extremes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I decided to come back because I missed that. And also there's a respect for older people here that you don't get in the U.S. So I think that we turned to each other and said, do we want to spend out the rest of our years in California, or do we want to spend the rest of our years in Japan? And I think that if it's California, you got to be super wealthy to insulate yourself for all the disrespect you get as you age.
Would you say then the first time that you came round, you were treated a bit differently to how you are at the moment, a bit older?
Yeah. I'm stared at less. When I was younger, I got stared at more. Well, because I was more gregarious and and silly and into the differences about being an American in Japan. So I was your typical happy-go-lucky foreigner when I was in my 30s, right?
Yeah.
Moving back, retiring here, I knew the drill because I'd been married for a long time and I was very familiar with Japanese sensibilities. This time around, I slid in like, a glove into a hand. You follow? So, because I had all that experience, I know how to behave in a supermarket if I bump into somebody or, any of those little things. I just know. So I behave more like a native this time around.
Yeah. I would love to go out in Japan and
you should visit.
go
I
in the
mean,
record
it's
shop.
it's going to get more. It should get more affordable. Everything about it should get more affordable in terms of the exchange rates. So, and with Airbnb, I mean, all the stories of the $5 cup of coffee. That's just forget all that stuff. If you're creative, there are flights and there are Airbnb and ways you can do, and you can get a rail pass. That's so much cheaper if you buy it before you come. And a rail pass gives you the opportunity to get on any Shinkansen and go and traverse Japan if you wanted to. Although, I told Ian this. If you come to Japan by in a week and you're always going to different cities, you're spending half your time in a train. So
Yeah.
it's best to just pick 2 cities and do it that way.
2 cities. I'll be happy with the one.
You could just do one, especially as a record collector, either Tokyo or Seoul. Actually, you can go to any city and be in record heaven. Any city.
Yeah. I mean, I find the thought of Tokyo so overwhelming because there's just so much stuff going on there, and the culture and everything else. I've struggled with, I think,
It's a goods explosion. It's just, I mean, the consumerism here is just off the charts.
Yeah, so it's been nothing like I would ever experience in my whole life.
Probably not.
I don't think I would bow to it very easily. But it's something I would like to do when I'm a bit older. When the kids are about, growing up a bit and a bit more independent. But yeah. I've got a few Tom Petty albums on Japanese vinyl,
and
I'll just go through them with you if you like, and just show you what I've got.
Do they sound better? Do they sound so? Just when you show them to me, let me know if you think they sound better or worse than the.
They just sound nicer.
They're quieter.
They're quieter. Yeah, they're quieter in the quieter passages. And I think there's a little bit more detail to the sound. Just a slight amount, nothing major, but they're just nicer to have on. They kind of remind me a bit more CDs, a bit more like CD quality sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll show you what I've got. I've got other Japanese pressings other than Tom Petty.
And that's the first. That's the debut, right?
No, that's not the debut. That's the third album.
Okay. I always thought that was the debut. Yeah.
No, it's not the debut. This is the big one though. This is the favorite. Damn the torpedoes. I believe this is the fourth one. It's okay. It's a bit underrated.
So you bought that did you buy that from a Japanese seller?
Yeah, on eBay. Yeah.
Okay.
And I kind of spent my time buying these. I didn't sort of go out and buy the whole lot, from different sellers. This is like over the last maybe 4 or 5 years of collecting.
Yeah.
Just buying the odd one here and there.
Yeah.
And I probably did pay a little over the odds when you consider the postage and everything else.
Right.
But it's just something I wanted to have,
Right. Yeah.
Let Me Up, I've had enough. There's one more of their later 80s album, 87, I think that was.
And they were used or they were new when you bought them, do you know?
These were all used. I made sure they all got Obies because I didn't want.
Of course. Yeah.
I wanted the thing is, I know what you're saying about Obies and stuff, but without the Obi, they just look like
I agree. Especially if you're going to pay that kind of money.
and I didn't want it sort of in my collection and looking that way. I wanted to pinpoint them out so I could
Yep.
visibly see that they're Japanese.
Yep.
So therefore, I made sure that they have the obi.
Makes
That's
perfect
fair.
sense to me.
So-
That jacket, it's a jacket prestige. Is that the printing on the around the photo? It looks like it's spotty, but that's the texture of the paper. Is that the design of it? Is that the? Is it meant to look like parchment?
It's
Yeah, it's meant to look like parchment. Okay.
yeah. Does this obi? Do they make any sense to you, the colors or anything?
No, it has no meaning whatsoever. It's just typical. Just some designer made some choice to do black and white for that one.
So
I
there's
mean,
no distinction
no,
on the obi or
no,
what pressing
no.
it is or anything.
It basically says Tom Petty's. They all read the same. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. It was, recorded this day. These are some of the hit songs on it, and these are some of Tom Petty's earlier records. Obi is all. It is nothing more than a hype sticker, right? It's all they are, and I mean that's the content. Yeah.
I mean, you've gone from
And then
like
on the
quite a
back,
thin-
the Obi always has the previous records typically.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's it's all a sales promotion.
Right. Okay.
I'm not demeaning in any way. That's just formally what they are.
This is the original album, self-titled, on the Shelter label, which is a UK label.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure this is a first, but I might be wrong. I think it's a first.
What's different about Japanese pressings is that they oftentimes don't invest in the label that's on the record itself. Like for example, Sony always has it. They all look the same no matter who the artist is. They're yellow and white and plain text. And sometimes the Japanese pressings don't match the record company that the record is from. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the red on the obi. I think it just blends in so well with the black.
Absolutely.
And the picture of Tom up here. I think
Yep.
it just gives it a bit of a zing to the album.
Sure.
It makes it a little bit more eye popping.
Yep.
That's the back of the record.
Yeah.
And it's the same on the second album. It's the same kind of obi, same style. A little bit faded on the lettering here, but I'm not too worried about it.
Sometimes when they Japanese do reissues, and sometimes when they do the reissues, the obis look the same because it's part of a series. So they might have pressed those. They might have produced those two at the same time.
I've got some other Japanese stuff, but
even the CDs have obis here.
I know they do. I've got a few.
It's a real pain in the ass to save.
I don't get it with the CDs because
It's
the obi
absolutely a total pain in the ass.
It is. What do you do with it? It flaps around and.
You hopefully you save it for time when you sell it, because when you sell it, you get your value back if you keep it intact. That's really what they're all about. Is helping you to maintain the value of the record or increase the value of the record, because they're sought after. Even here, obis are sought after here too. It's not. They don't take them for granted. It's absurd, but it is what it is.
Well, just having the obi can put 10, 20, 30, or whatever quid on it, or just having a bit of paper. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Really?
It doesn't do anything to the sound.
Of course not. It's just visual, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
But
Bragging rights.
I do like to have them.
Well, you should.
Complete, looking how they should. But I mean, I've got a few other things on Japanese, but how far do you take it? I see some record sellers at these sort of conventions, and it's just pure all Japanese vinyl, and they're like 20, 30, 40 quid a pop. And you just think it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money for for what they are. If they were a little bit less, you know,
It's the exotic component. They are exotic.
they are. Yeah,
As simple as that.
yeah. It's a case of it's slightly better than what he's selling, isn't it? What Next Door has got. This is something special. You know.
But, you know, when I was a kid, it was the UK pressings that were exotic. And it was the UK pressings that were more expensive. And the UK pressings oftentimes came out before the American pressings.
Yeah, yeah. I think the UK pressings will always hold a high standard, won't they?
Yeah.
And I think the sort of the avid collectors will all say, "Oh yeah, UK press, definitely." You know, even you know, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. You know, but it's a shame that America didn't sort of adopt the same sort of attitudes as the UK regarding pressings. You know, in the sort of the early days, I know they have some of the best pressing plants in the world. You know, what's it? Mobile Fidelity and all that kind of stuff. You know, but like the more sort of common records I'm talking about, you know, they didn't seem to sort of quite be up there with other countries. I think the attitude is that sort of they didn't. I think they wanted the consumer just to not take care of them. I think that was the idea. If they were to not look after them, then they'll go back and buy another record. So
exactly,
there wasn't much promotion in the way of looking after your records. Like in UK, we get it on the paper sleeve inside. Do this with your record. Make sure you clean it. Make sure you know go over with the brush, etc., etc. Put them away. You know, they never did that in the US. It was always like you play it, throw it away, buy another one, sort of attitude.
Because they were $2.99.
Yeah.
Every single one of them was $2.99 when they first, you know, in the 60s and the 70s when they first came out.
So were you saying they were cheap even back then?
They were commodities, yes.
Right. Right. Were they cheaper compared to other countries like the UK?
Yes. UK stuff you paid a premium for. And I believe they were more expensive in the UK. And so, you know, they were party items. You brought them to parties, you played them. If you were a nerd, you wrote your name on the outside with a Sharpie pen, so you'd be guaranteed to take it home with you. But, you know.
But everybody did that. Even over here, people were doing that, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like now it's just they've taken on this fetish thing, you know, in terms of the cleaning and the wrapping and the covers and all this crap and
it's a collector's market, isn't it?
Yes.
The whole vinyl buying vinyl is a collector's paradise, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, it goes.
But, you know, my wife laughs and calls. She makes fun of me. She goes, "This stuff is just like stamp collecting. You behave just like a stamp collector." You know, they behave. You know, she uses that comparison, which is like nobody gives a shit about them except the people that are in that realm.
Yeah, yeah. When dare I ask, do you let your records go?
10 years before you die, because you do not. Because let me tell you something. Your heirs, whoever is there after you're dead, is not going to take the amount of time you took to find the best money for them. So
that's the harsh reality, isn't it? That
I think that's what Patrick's doing. You know, with his off. I think Patrick is weaning his collection down because he's getting on in age, and I think that's the smart thing to do. Once you reach a certain age, it's time to start shedding.
Do you think there's going to be a time that you're going to
absolutely
do the same?
Absolutely.
It's brave to admit to that. You know, that's not an easy thing to.
You want it to be a burden. Otherwise, you're just a burden on somebody else. Your boat in a basement is just a burden on somebody else.
where do you start? Where do you honestly start?
Well,
Whitley,
I would well, I'm always pruning, but I would definitely sell the stuff that I haven't listened to in years. That's the first to go, you know, absolutely. And I would just by process of elimination, I'd pare it down to the cream of the crop of the last X hundred, whatever your risk tolerance is, or your nostalgia tolerance. Right.
I've spoken to people about culling the collection, people who have done it like, once or twice in their life or whatever. And it's a simple answer is, well, you just rate them. You go through each one, you rate them between 5 stars. If they're below 3 stars, you get rid of it.
Yeah.
Or if it's below 2 stars, get rid of it. Because I go through and I find, well, I just bought that because I like the cover. Or I just bought that because I wanted that variation of coloured vinyl or whatever. Not even about the music as such. Or it's there to fill in a discography. I don't really like it, but I wanted to have all of his records. So it's brutal, but
it also takes time. This whole attitude of oh, I can sell it any time because it just sold on Discog for $500. Well, it takes time to find a buyer who's going to give you the price you want. So you might as well list now and be prepared that it may not sell for months.
Yeah.
But then when it does sell, it's found money.
Put it on eBay with a buy it now price, and it will sell within the next 2 to 3 years. Eventually, won't it? It will sell eventually. It'll cost you a bit advertisement, but as long as you're happy to wait, you will get that sale eventually. It'll come. Christmas will come and go. Someone will buy it.
And just put it in. Don't forget to just don't throw it out, and put it in a place where you can get to it, because you can forget that you even had the friggin' record once you've salted it away and you're waiting for it to sell on eBay, and then boom, you get an email. The Grateful Dead record that you bought because you like the color of it has sold for X quid. And you're like, great, get it out of here. But if you don't, but nothing venture, nothing gain. You got to list it, and the time to list it is now. If you're actually thinking of paring down.
Being patient is the key when it comes to selling vinyl, because if you want a quick sell, you're not going to get your money's worth. You're just not. You're going to lose out.
Yeah, it's disappointment.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work, but I think it pays off, doesn't it? If you're willing to wait. So I think you're right. I think you have to think ahead, like you have been, and do it sort of like at the now sooner rather than later. I think you're right. Still, anyway, Michael, it's been great chatting with you.
We'll see you on Ian's in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to your report.
Yeah. Looking forward to yours.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Dave's going to have a come to Jesus with me.
Yeah.
All right, Simon.
Take care, mate.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye for now.